I want to look briefly at the economics, which I know is an immensely controversial subject. It's so often said that the UK ban on sow stalls has led to a huge reduction in our sow herd. But, and this is where life gets controversial, I remember at the time of the 99 ban, both the Meat and Livestock Commission and the then biggest pig producer, Grampian Country Foods, said that actually the sow stall ban had added just 2p to the cost of producing a kilogram of pig meat, just 2p. I remember Grampian Country Food wrote to all then MPs and they said, actually, the cost difference between UK pig meat and continental is 44p, huge. But then, and this is the pig producer, not an animal welfare NGO, went on to say most of that 44p was due to the then strength of sterling and to the fact that at that point we had banned meat and bone meal and the continent hadn't. It's the industry that said it was only 2p that was added to the cost of producing a kilo of pig meat by the sow stall ban. Now this is important not just because of the sow stall ban, but not just in pig farming, but with animal welfare as a whole. We're endlessly being told, whether we're looking at pigs, chickens, whatever, that any welfare improvement is going to be costly, probably too costly. And I think we need to really challenge that idea. Yes, of course, some welfare improvements are going to add to the cost, but it's not always the case. And we need to look for cases where we can get both better welfare and economic benefits. And just if you look at some of the published scientific papers on fattening pigs, the higher welfare pigs are often healthier, so that you're going to get savings in terms of lower veterinary costs, reduced mortality. You can get benefits because these healthier pigs provided with enrichment and more space, are like to have a better growth rate, a better feed conversion. Again, these are not my figures, this is published economic studies. The studies show that these pigs, the better welfare pigs with straw, with more space, may well be producing meat of superior eating quality, and that a range of health problems will be reduced, and there are economic as well as health benefits to that. Moving on quickly before the chairman starts waving bits of paper at me. Labelling. Right, yes, of course, we fully support, and indeed fully supported for years, the UK industry's desire for honest labelling. In other words, pig meat should not be labelled as British if actually the animal was reared abroad and all that happened was that the meat was processed here. Our main concern, however, is we want, and again, we want it on an EU level, is mandatory labelling as to farming method. We've already got one hugely successful scheme in the EU, which Kate mentioned, the mandatory labelling of eggs, and above all the egg pack. Let's now extend that to pork, bacon and ham. And we're not saying, these are just some thoughts, we're not saying these are the exact terms, but maybe following the egg model we could have 4 kinds of welfare distinguished. You know, the factory farmed, which we would perhaps politely have to call indoor intensive. Then we'd have good indoor, like some of the Freedom Food Farms, indoor premium. And then we'd have to recognise 2 kinds of outdoor and free range. The ones where it's just the sow and the piglets that are outdoors, and the other much rarer where the fattening pigs as well throughout their lives are outdoors. Very final point about public procurement. We've got a real problem with our government in this country. If you look at some of their policy statements, including the statement published just earlier this month, their food vision for 2030, they will say that public procurement aims to promote high animal welfare standards. If you then look at the standards, whether it's pigs or anything else that the public sector espouses, in fact, very little is done to promote good welfare. There is even, just straying away from pigs for a moment, something called the Draft Standards for the Healthier Food Mark, which, despite its name, the government says is meant to look at sustainability issues across the board. This so-called Healthier Food Mark allows public sector bodies in this country to source battery eggs, even though they're going to be illegal shortly. So I'm appalled at the government's behaviour on public procurement. On pigs, the best it ever aims for is red tractor, and I know I'm coming into another hugely controversial area, but put very simply, you know, look, some red tractor farms are good, but there are far too many that are not providing effective enrichment materials, that have got fully slatted floors, that are tail docking. I mean, I'm sorry, red tractor is not good enough for a government that claims to want to promote high welfare. really, public procurement should be aiming for the RSPCA freedom food or for free range. So I think, wanting to end on this very dissatisfied note, I think, as other speakers have said, public procurement could be doing so much for welfare and to support farmers who are producing to high welfare, and at the moment it's failing to do that. Right, I haven't had a bit of paper wave, so I'm going while the going is good. Thank you very much.